Sunday morning, I want to do a repeat shave as I did yesterday, but I'm doing it today. It was a good shave yesterday. I want to test if my coticle edges still feel as good on the next day shave. So the other thing I wanted to do a little test on was I've just watched a wonderful video by Froggy Shaves. And Froggy Shaves goes into very great detail. He has a wonderful microscope, and he does very, very accurate and very learned YouTube videos. However, I had to bring up a point, which was he did just, I think, yesterday, a wonderful video on the awful gold dollars, which are great as practice razors. If you want to practice honing, practice stropping, fine. But they're unreliable. The steel varies so much. Their grind varies from reasonably straight to bent like a pretzel. I've honed about a dozen and used them. And, you know, the variation is just too much for me to bother with. But my good friend Jeff, he brought over a gold dollar the other day, which had been honed magnificently by, of course, Gary. And any edge from Gary is going to be good, but this one, I had a quick peek underneath a microscope, just a little cheap handheld microscope, and I must say the edge looks absolutely wonderful. No guarantee it would hold up, of course, but I've stropped it. I want to compare what Gary's gold dollar edge against a coticle edge feels like. And as I said on my, well, I'm not retracting anything, but I did rather cruelly say that polishing and honing a gold dollar is a little bit like polishing a turd. It's not really worth your while. However, in saying that, let's try this gold dollar. It is hanging hair tested absolutely perfectly, as anything from Gary always does. But let's just see. Yeah, it's as good as it looks. Oh, well done, Gary. That's how you get the absolute most out of a horrible gold dollar. I'm using the same soap as yesterday as well. Yeah. I'll have to inquire from Jeff and from Gary what edge this is actually on. I had a quick peek and it did seem to have a slightly sandblasted edge, so it's probably off a natural stone. So there you have it. Look at that. If you're lucky and you've got yourself a good gold dollar, then yeah. I don't know how long this edge would hold up, but as far as comfort goes and shaving abilities, first rate. I gave it 25 laps on canvas, 25 laps on my Kaniyama leather, and it wasn't that brilliant, so I gave it another 25 laps on the leather, and it is perfect. It's popping hairs in both directions, which is my cardinal test. Let's now compare on the other side of my face with what I used yesterday, and that is a nice German Edeco, whoever they are. It's a Hamburg ring, quite clearly on the panel, Hamburg ring, very nice, mid-20th century, good quality German steel, I assume. I had a good shave from it yesterday. Yeah. A little more resistant, isn't that interesting? These coticle edges, I give a comfortable, very nice comfortable shave, but they just feel a little bit rough, just a little bit. Let's go over that same area again with Gary's gold dollar and see how that feels. I'll give it just a teeny lick. Just a lick of soap. Let's just see how that went over the same area. Yeah, it feels better. Certainly is good. So well done, Gary. You have redeemed the horrible gold dollar's reputation. You have successfully polished a turd. That is actually quite nice. Jeff will love it. I'm going to give that back to Jeff. He needs to practice. As we all know, practice makes perfect. Yeah, it feels nice. But I'm evaluating it without the knowledge. I don't know what edge it actually is. I would still say, in my sublime ignorance, that it's probably a natural edge because it's got that slightly frosty look. And that's usually indicative of a natural edge. But my coticle's just as good, come to think of it. I think one side of your face is always slightly more sensitive than the other. And that can fool you, fools me. Anyway, I won't be long. And I'll leave you in peace. Yeah, coticle edges are nice. No two ways about it. However, I'd still say a good synthetic edge still takes some beating. And the most, then you're debating then whether or not it's the steel. And the steel can vary as much as the edge that you put on, in my opinion. But it just goes to show, there I was slagging off the horrible gold dollar, and actually it performed pretty well. I'm going to try one other, which is again from yesterday. This is a coticle edge on a Puma 23. The only thing I would say is this one had some pitting on it. Well, I say pitting, heavy staining. Yeah, it's still good. Yeah. Very nice, actually. Yeah. Even on my least favourite side, that's still pretty good. This is a strange comparison test for me. I usually go a couple of days without a shave. I mean, you know. But I wanted to see if there's any residual tenderness from yesterday's 4 razor shave. And 4 rows is about my limit. I'm very pleased. I thought this yesterday wasn't quite up to the mark, but it is. It's Puma steel, which is very reliable steel. And on a coticle edge, it's pretty good. A little bit, not draggy, but you can hear there's a little bit of resistance, but the stubble, residual stubble, is still pretty strong. So crazy that is, because you can hear it cutting and yet you go to feel it, there's nothing there at all. BBS. And yet, by virtue of the blade going over the skin, I think you're pulling up the hairs and you're still cutting them, and you touch it with your finger and they're not there any longer. Yeah, so I'm quite happy. I'd still say I'm mildly surprised that the coticle edge is as good as it is. But that's what testing's all about, I guess, guys. Testing and surprises. So one more pass, I think, even though there's nothing now left. This is getting a little bit theoretical. As for the Ariana and Evans tobacco, was it a tobacco and something, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a vanilla and tobacco from Jeff as a sample. And I've got to say, can't really go wrong with that either. The main test is it should be comfortable while you shave, but the main test is after you've shaved. But on a cold January morning, if I go for a walk, which I will after this, it'll feel total luxury. Let's go one more time with the ubiquitous gold dollar. A little trim. Yeah, it's all right. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's pretty good. Try a fool's pass. No, it's not as good. No, it's good. I mean, you could shave with it very happily, but we're talking about infinite degrees of luxury here. I'm going to go for this German hamburger ring and try the same maneuver. Yeah, it's better. Sorry, gold dollar. Yeah, even though there's hardly any hair left, you can feel the steel quality is just better, even though I'm uncertain of the edge. I was very, very, very strict about the hanging hair test. It's still my